Hi everyone, and welcome back to Kitchen Science with Hollie for Becker School Supplies. Now today, we're gonna talk about shadows and light. I'm so excited. Now I've got lots of fun stuff planned today, so make sure you have these supplies first, so we're all ready to go when our first experiment happens. Great. And while you're gathering those, I wanna talk a little bit about playing with shadows. Have you ever played with shadows before? Maybe you've made shadow animals on the wall. So you take a couple of these guys and hold them up to the light, and on your wall, you'll see two animals talking to each other. And maybe one of them is a bunny or a butterfly swoops by. It's so much fun to create different characters out of shadows. And my favorite way to do that is with shadow puppets. Would you like to see some shadow puppets? Fantastic. I have something very special to share with you. So this is a shadow puppet theater. Okay, so we're looking at a screen that's going to have shadows on it really soon. Where do you think these shadows are supposed to be? Yeah, by the ocean. And look who's swooping by the ocean. We have two seagulls swooping by the ocean. I wonder what other shadow puppets are going to join us by our ocean. What's that? Yes, it's an airplane. Our airplane swooped nice and low. Now, I bet there's some animals living in the ocean. What animal do you see? Yes, it's a shark. We've got a shadow shark. He did a little sharky wiggle there for us. I wonder if there are any other shadow animals that want to pop up from the ocean to say hi. Oh, yep, there's our octopus. He's saying hi. Fantastic. Did you like that? Was it cool? Oh, it's so neat. I love playing with shadow puppets. But how do they work? I want to take you behind the scenes of my shadow puppet theater so you can see how I make those really cool shadow animals happen. All right, let's take a look. So now we're going to be behind the shadow puppet theater, okay? So here I've got my light, okay? So it's a nice bright light. And it's pointing at, let's see, it's pointing at my screen. So right now there's nothing showing up on the screen because I haven't picked up any of my puppets. So right here I've got a seagull puppet, another seagull puppet. They're just pieces of paper on sticks. But when I hold them up to the screen, they make shadows in the shape of our seagulls. And by moving the sticks, it makes it look like they're flying. And the same thing happens with my octopus puppet. I hold the puppet up to a screen, and now we have a shadow that's shaped like an octopus. And by twisting my sticks there, I can make it look like our octopus is saying hello. Neat, right? But what are shadows really? So what I want you to do is I want you to take the Lego or the blocks that you have brought and build a sculpture. So it can be whatever you want it to be. It can be big or small, or use as many or as few pieces as you want. So you can see here on my camera that I have a little Lego sculpture. My son made this for me today. You can see he used lots of different pieces. It looks like a car engine on top, but it's a really cool Lego sculpture. And it's sitting on top of a piece of paper. So you can go ahead and put yours on top of a piece of paper too. So you need an object to make a shadow. So in the case of our puppet theater, it was our puppets. So the seagull and the octopus and the shark. So those pieces of paper that were cut out in the shape were our object. But you also need something else really important. Here, I'm going to try to show you what other thing you need. Whoop! Do you guys know what that is right there? It's a light. Now, hopefully you have a flashlight or even the light on your phone. I'm using a desk light because I only have a few hands free. So to make a shadow, you need an object and a light source. That light can be a desk lamp, a flashlight, or even the sun. Now, what makes a shadow so special is when an object blocks the light, okay? That's how you get a shadow, when an object blocks the light. So what you see is light all around a shape and sort of black in the middle. Why do you think it's black in the middle for a shadow? Yeah, because there's no light getting through. That's what a shadow is. Now, shadows can change. Now, the object's not going to change. I'm not going to add or take away any bricks for my, my sculpture here, but what I can change is the light. So I'm going to bring my light sort of closer to my object. What's happening to my shadow? It's stretching. So the closer the light got to my sculpture, the longer my shadow got. What happens if I move my light farther away from my shadow? I mean, from my object. What happened? Yeah, my shadow got shorter. So I'm going to bring it back to the middle here. Awesome job. Can you do that with yours too? Cool. So those are the two things you need to make a shadow. You need an object to block the light, and you need the light itself. But what else can we figure out about these really cool shadows? Does your shadow look exactly like your sculpture? How are they different? You may have noticed that your shadow is black, but maybe your sculpture is all different colors, just like mine. I've got green and gray and red, but my shadow is all black. Why do you think that is? Exactly, because remember we said it blocks the light. So in the area where the light is blocked, it's dark or black. Now, I want to see what these shadows really look like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace my shadow, and I want you to do the same thing. So I've got my little shadow here. Now, I'm not an excellent tracer, so I'll do the best I can, and you do the best you can too. Okay, so I'm gonna adjust my light to where I want it. Okay, and then I'm going to trace. Now, I'm right-handed, so I'm gonna sort of move around a little bit here. Okay, and then I've got the sticky uppy bit, and this sticky uppy bit, and this sticky uppy bit, and this. All right, so now I can move my sculpture away. And this is the shape that was left. Now, I look at this and I see something very special. Do you see something special in your shadow drawing? So what happens if I add an eye here and a big smile and a nose, and I make these into ears here and add something really special? I'm going to add some hair and some stripes right here. What does my shadow look like now? It looks like a unicorn. Well, at least I think it looks like a unicorn. What does your shadow look like? Does it remind you of anything else? So cool. And you can do this with lots of different objects. Because remember, all you need is a light and an object to block the light. Pretty cool stuff. Now, you're probably using a flashlight, right? Flashlights are great for making shadows, but they're also really cool for something else. They're great for looking at things in the dark. So I want to read a very special story with you right now, all about using a flashlight in the dark. Are you ready? Great. Now, the story we're reading today is called Flashlight by Lizzie Boyd. Let's look closely at this cover. Is this a very colorful cover? It looks colorful, but only on one part of the cover. Why do you think that is? Right, our illustrator is using color to show us where the flashlight is shining. Now, when it's really, really dark, can you see color very easily? Nope. That's not how our eyes work. Our eyes need a lot more light to distinguish different colors, to be able to see them. So in the dark, most things sort of look black and white. But when you have your flashlight, that gives your eyeballs enough light to be able to see colors. And that's exactly what we're seeing on this page. So cool. Now, I need to warn you about this book. It is one of my favorite types of books. Okay? It's what we call a wordless book. What do you think a wordless book is? Right? It's a book without any words. It's one of my favorite types of stories because you get to tell the story yourself. Now, we're going to tell one version of a story today while we're here together. But I encourage you to get this book and to try reading it again. You're going to notice all sorts of other details, and maybe you'll tell the story completely differently when your family is reading it together. That's what I love about wordless books. It's a different story every time you read it. So let's get started on this version of the story, okay? Looks like we're going to be exploring outside at night. Okay, now our friend in the story here is going to be using a flashlight to explore. And I want you to use a pretend flashlight too. So I'm going to ask you to find things on each of the pages, and I want you to hold up your pretend flashlight and click when you find what I ask you to find, okay? So let's practice on this page. So our friend here is going camping in the story. So use your flashlight and try to find the tent where our friend is going to sleep. And when you find it, say, click. Did you find it? Great. So get ready to use your flashlight as we read Flashlight by Lizzie Boyd. All right, so our friend here has found something very important first with his flashlight. What did he find? Yep, his other boot. When you're looking for something in the dark, you definitely need light to find it more easily. But on the other page, he sees another really cool animal. What animal is that? It's a bat. Awesome job. And bats come out at night. Do you know what we call animals that come out at night? Nocturnal animals. So cool. All right, use your flashlight and see if you can find an animal who's sleeping at night. So an animal that's not like our bats, but an animal that's sleeping right now. So use your flashlight. All right, when you find it, say click, click. Did you notice the little cat in the tree who's sleeping? They're not awake like our bats. They're sleeping in that tree. Excellent job using your flashlight. All right, so what has our friend found on these pages? What are the little animals he found first? Yeah, they're mice. And on the other page, he's found an animal that would like to eat the mice. What animal did he find? Yes, an owl. An owl is a predator, and it eats animals like it's mice or it's prey. Awesome job. All right, get your flashlights out. I want you to find an animal on this page that we already met, an animal that we saw on the first page. All right, so look around and say click when you find it. Click. Maybe you saw the bats, or maybe you saw the beautiful Luna moth. This Luna moth is going to follow us on every single page. Now, the Luna moth is that little green butterfly-looking thing underneath the moon there. Do you see it? Yeah, always keep an eye out for a really cool Luna moth. Okay, uh-oh. What did our friend find? Skunks. What do you know about skunks? Yep, skunks are sometimes smelly, okay? And why are they smelly sometimes? Yeah, to keep themselves safe. Awesome job. They use their spray to keep other animals from eating them. If your food was really stinky, would you want to eat it? No way, you would not. All right, now on this other page, he found sticks. Some animal left a bunch of sticks there. What animal do you think left those sticks? Let's find out. What animal was it? It's a beaver. Awesome job. We have a beaver who's made a dam in the water. Very cool. And on this other page, it looks like we're looking at some plants. Now I want you to use your flashlight and find on this page an animal that's eating the same plants our friend found. Did you find it? Let's see what animal that is. What is it? It's a porcupine. Very, very cool. We have a porcupine up in the tree. What do you know about porcupines? Yeah, they're covered in sharp quills. Why? Yep, to keep themselves safe. The same way you wouldn't want to eat something really stinky, you wouldn't want to eat something that's super sharp either. Now, use your flashlight and try to find an animal that has a really cool defense like our porcupine, some way of keeping itself safe. Did you find those skunks again? Oh, there they are. They're hiding in the back. Awesome job. And then we see some fish and our frog there. Now, I want you to use your flashlight and try to find a bug on this page. Use your flashlight and say click when you find it. Click. Maybe you saw our beautiful Luna moth again, or maybe you saw those beautiful red moths that are flying near a porcupine. But what about in the pond? Do you see a bug in our pond? Yes, there's a water strider, just like we talked about last week when we were talking about water. So cool. All right, what did our friend find on this page? Yep, they found a red fox. So cool. Now, did our friend find an animal or a plant this time? No, they found something that was left behind by another human. It looks like a tree house. Very cool. Now on the next page, we see apples, but those apples look like they've been munched on. I want you to use your flashlight and make a prediction about what animal munched on those apples. Do you see the animal you think munched on the apples? Say click when you find it. Those are really good predictions. Let's find out if you're right. So we see a deer and we see the animal that was eating the apples. In fact, we see two animals that were eating the apples. We see the mice, and then what's our friend doing? He's munching on some apples too. They must look really, really good. Was your prediction correct? Did you think it was the mouse? Uh-oh, our friend just tripped. Use your flashlight to find out what they tripped on. Oh yeah, that rock and their flashlight went tumbling. And uh-oh, now it's off the page. What do you think is going to happen next? Let's find out. An animal grabbed our friend's flashlight. So use your flashlight to figure out what animal now has the flashlight. It's that raccoon. Oh my goodness, the raccoon stole his flashlight. What is going to happen next? Who has this flashlight now? Use yours to find him. What is it? It's the beaver that was making its dam. And what about on the other page? Who has the flashlight now? It's our skunk. The skunk has the flashlight now. All the animals are getting a turn to take a real close look at our friend now, huh? And what animal has it this time? Our deer. So our beaver, our raccoon, our skunks and our deer friends have all gotten a chance to take a closer look at our friend. Pretty cool. And then last but not least, what do we got? Yes, we've got our squirrels who are taking a close look at our friend here. Now use your flashlight to find a plant on this page. See a cool plant? Ooh, maybe you notice those really tall plants that we can see in our flashlight beam, or the plants that are growing in and around the pond, or even maybe those cute little green plants that are growing at the bottom of our page. Lots of plants are growing in our forest. Who has the flashlight finally? Yes, it's our owl. Owls are so good at seeing at night. You know what? They don't even need that flashlight. Owls can see much better at night than we can. And I think the owl wants our friend to go back somewhere. Where should they go back? Yep, they should go back in their tent because it's probably pretty late now. And who's holding our flashlight at the very end? Go ahead, use your flashlight to find them. It's the mice. And why are they holding up the flashlight for our friend here? To help him to read. I wish I had little mouse friends to hold up my flashlight when it was time to read at night. And then we have all of our beautiful plants and animals that we met in the story. Did you like that story? What was your favorite part? I think mine was when the raccoon stole the flashlight. Now, the great thing about wordless stories is that you have to read them again because you could tell the story completely differently this time. Maybe you could tell the story from the point of view of the Luna moth. What's the Luna moth thinking through that whole story? It'd be so cool to think about it from maybe the perspective of the mice. What were the mice thinking while our friend was walking through the woods with their flashlight? Who knows? And we definitely missed some details. So go back as a family and see what other really cool things you can find in that story. Now, before I let you go today, why don't you go ahead and grab these supplies? Now, we're probably not going to have a chance to do the whole experiment while we're on the webinar today, but I want to get you set up so you can play as a family as soon as we're done. Okay? So make sure every person in your family has a piece of paper. They're going to draw a picture on it. Now, you can draw whatever you want. Okay, But the important thing is each person in the family gets one part of a paper to draw on. So for example, on my paper here, I drew some beautiful flowers. I drew along the bottom of my paper. I didn't draw anything at the top, okay? Mine is all along the bottom here. And then my husband, he drew this beautiful sun, but he drew it at the top. He drew nothing along the bottom here, okay? And then my son drew this beautiful butterfly, and he drew it just in this one section. He didn't draw anything where the sun was, and he didn't draw anything down here. And then finally, my daughter drew this cute little bumblebee, and he's right smack in the center, not where the butterfly was, not where the sun was, and not where my flowers are. So you can draw whatever you want as long as everybody's drawing in a different part of the paper. Okay, now for our youngest scientists, grown-ups, it might help to draw a box where you want them to draw, so that way they stay in one section, okay? And this is where the fun light comes in. Okay, let's go back to my first paper here. So what do you see? You see my beautiful flowers. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this sun picture and I'm gonna put it behind my flowers, okay? So I put them behind each other. What do you see? Yeah, all you see are my flowers. You don't really see the sun. But what happens if I put a light behind this drawing? So on my camera here, I have a light set up. You're just gonna use your flashlight probably, but I'm gonna set up because I can only use my one hand. So I'm gonna place it in front of the light. And what do we see? Pick it up. You don't see the sun. Put it in front of the light. And what do you see? You see both pictures at the same time. Awesome. Now what happens if I add my bumblebee behind my pictures? What do you see when the light's not shining through it? Just those flowers. What happens if we put a light behind it? Now we've got a beautiful garden on a summer day. We see our bee and our sun and our flowers all in the same picture. And then last but not least, we're gonna add our beautiful butterfly. I'm gonna put it behind the other pictures. What do you see? Yeah, you only see my flowers. What do you think we're gonna see when I put the light behind it? And there's my beautiful butterfly too. All of our drawings look like they're in the same drawing now because the light is shining through and allowing us to see all of the details from the pictures from all 4 drawings. Pretty neat stuff. You can write secret messages that way, or you can just continue to make beautiful drawings one at a time as a family. Awesome job. Well, unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me during these really cool kitchen science webinars. And I've had a blast sharing great science and awesome stories with your family and your classroom. As always, if you're doing these experiments, share them with us. We would love to see what you're up to. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Keep learning, keep playing together, and I hope to see you soon.